What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of SpeedSim. I'm eHouse.
I'm Amy.
And today we're going to be doing a redo of a little bit of an older video because I think since the last time we talked about this, I've learned a lot more about this subject, and I know you've done plenty of experimenting with this. We're going to be talking about our favorite handgun, Hi Capas, again.
More specifically TM, though.
I mean, yes, very specifically TM. We're going to talk about building Hi Capas, our experiences with it, our preferences with it, and the parts that we like, maybe some of the parts we don't like, and then we'll get this right out of the way right now. We get questions all the time about like the Navrich SSP1 and KJW Hi Capas. The long and short of that is if you want a Hi Capa that works fine out of the box, KJWs and the SSP1 are fine.
They're the exact same pistol.
Yeah, well, I mean, the SSP1 is just a KJW, and KJWs are, as far as non-built Hi Capas go, pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's not as nice and tricked out as your TM, but...
You can to an extent.
You can, but it's also, you're not paying for a TM, so,
Exactly.
you know. So we're going to be talking about TMs. These are the Hi Capas we prefer because you can do all the ridiculous building to them, and we have found that to be our preference of being able to build Hi Capas for a lot of performance.
Yes. Okay. How about you start?
Yeah, I'm going to have the short segment for this one, I think. So this is the same Hi Capa I featured in our previous iteration of the video.
This is the only Hi Capa you
This is
own.
the only Hi Capa I own. So I built this as like what I envisioned to be my perfect sidearm. Like this lives in a holster for most of its life. Maybe it gets run as a primary at some games here and there. But this is my idea of a sidearm. So I didn't build it to be super flashy. It's all blacked out.
You did have it flashy at one point.
I did. I had the gold match iteration initially, and I had the gold barrel and all that. But I realized I didn't care for that. I liked the blacked out look. I mean, I saw some blacked out Hi Capas on Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot. I'm like, you know what? I prefer that. So I've got an Airsoft Masterpiece slide on here. I've got a Cow outer barrel, an Airsoft Masterpiece guide rod, an AIP 120% recoil spring, Airsoft Masterpiece nozzle, Cow ultralight blowback unit, an Airsoft Masterpiece hammer assembly, the matching AIP hammer spring, and I also have a Speed Airsoft trigger on here.
Okay.
And I gotta say, this combination of, and I replaced the slide release for this with a KJW slide release because, unfortunately, my Tokyo Marui OEM slide release did break.
The problem with that is that the gold match comes with a 1911 style with the rolling pin on it.
Mm-hmm.
Those will break eventually. I've seen a number of those break. They even break, obviously, in the Elite Force 1911 tags.
Yep.
They break notoriously on there. The rolling pin system is just not a good system, so I
Yeah.
like to use the traditional 5.1 or 4.3 style.
Yeah, I mean, I really did not like that slide release broke. So I have a KJW one-piece one in here, but this has kind of convinced me that once you start building a Hi Capa, short stroking really might be necessary depending on what parts you're using, because I actually can't get this gun to consistently lock back on an empty magazine purely because of the way the slide release is interfacing with the magazine. And to get it to interface properly, I would need to spend more money on like a super expensive slide release or try to hunt down an original Tokyo Marui. And I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, you know what? This thing will cycle faster if I just short circuit anyway, so I'm just going to do that. And I also replaced the safeties on this. I tried the 9-ball safeties.
I know you did not like those.
I did not like those for two reasons. The first reason I didn't like the 9-ball ambi safety is it was way too small. It was way too easy it was way too hard to deactivate. And I did not like that at all. And the other reason I didn't like it is because there was actually play between the two halves, between each side of the safety selector or the safety lever. And the issue I had with that is that I would deactivate the safety.
And then the other side wouldn't go down.
Yeah, and the other side wouldn't go down, so the hammer would drop, but the slide wouldn't cycle.
Exactly. Okay. Makes
And
sense.
I hated that. So this is just a cheap ZCI safety. I used this to experiment with ZCI parts, and I gotta say, I'm not convinced by ZCI parts. I'm glad that I found a relatively cheap double thumb safety, but this took forever to break in to the point where it wouldn't need, a full hand's worth of effort to re-engage and disengage the safety. I think the finish was too thick or something like that, or the parts just a little bit out of spec. It's pretty good now, but when I got it, it was so stiff to get this in here and get it to activate and disengage. I'm not sure ZCI parts are quite up to spec, so my gamble paid off after some break-in, but I wouldn't mess with them too much. But in general, other than that, the AIP, Airsoft Masterpiece, and Cow parts I have in here are amazing.
Those are generally the go-to.
Yeah, I think those would be the big three for anything you're looking for Hi Capa wise. And I think you do get your money's worth in terms of the durability and the build quality, because these parts are amazing. Mm-hmm. One last thing I almost forgot to bring up is actually my hop-up. I still have the stock Tokyo Marui hop-up unit, and I still have the stock Tokyo Marui hop-up wheel in here. Mm-hmm. But I have an I-key and an Airsoft Masterpiece tensioner, and I also have a Maple Leaf, one of the Decepticon buckings, I think it is, in here. And this thing will hop 3.2s. It'll overhop 3.2s if I adjust it right. To me, that's exactly what I want out of a handgun.
Yeah.
I have video of me shooting a 2-foot wide target at 150 feet. I don't want anything else out of a sidearm. That is perfect to me.
Okay. As far as Hi Capas go, you can buy a number of different things. I know we mentioned this video before, but so you have aluminum slides, you can get steel slides, few and far between, but they make them, and then you have 3D printed. Now 3D printed, there's a couple people out there that make them, most notably the one that's up and coming right now is Sanctus Custom, which is this one right here, and the barrel for this one is actually a Ken's prop, before he couldn't sell to the States anymore. I don't know what the reason is. He never really posted it. I forgot. Or maybe it's on his Facebook. I don't know. But you can do a plastic slide. Now, if you're going to go the plastic route, it is cheaper. The slide itself is $60. It's not $60 shipped, but it is 60, and then whatever the change comes out to for shipping and everything like that. If you're going to go this route, HPA and really light spring, I would go 100 or even the stock TM one, so that way you're not breaking the slide. If you go anything like 120 like this guy and this guy has inside, it'll break the slide just like your regular plastic slide will break.
So you don't want to run that with green gas either.
You can run it with green gas if you have the lighter spring.
Gotcha.
If you put a lighter spring in it, you can run it green gas. It won't do anything. I've tested this numerous of times, and this hasn't broken yet.
But then propane and CO2 might be pushing it, or
CO2 definitely not.
Yeah.
Propane probably be okay. Again, the lighter spring won't break it. And then as far as frames go, I have two different types of frames. This guy and this guy have both the 9-ball. This is the gradient or oil spill, as some people like to call it. And then this one has an Airsoft Masterpiece all aluminum CNC frame. This is the 9-ball one. The 9-ball one is actually pretty light. I can't really say anything bad about the 9-ball ones because I've had no problems with it installing. I have different hammers in here. This is just the stock 4.3. And then on this one, I have a Airsoft Masterpiece SV style, and it also didn't have any problems installing it in here as well. As far as triggers go, I have a number of different ones. These two have an AIP in here. I still have an original tapped purple one when they used to release the Hi Capa triggers for this one. And then internally, I'm not going to go over my internals because I can't remember them all.
Yeah.
But I know this one has the Maple Leaf hop-up unit with a UAC bucking and an I-key and all this jazz. And then this one has a Airsoft Masterpiece one. And then this one I have a garter in here. So I've tried different hop-ups. The garter one, complete garbage. That wouldn't even go out and buy them. I mean, they're lightweight and everything, but what I found is the actual the nub that holds the hop-up wheel in breaks off really easily. The only two that I found that are actually really worth it are the Airsoft Masterpiece and the Maple Leaf one. As far as bucking goes, there's no real one fix for all buckings. Try to go with Maple Leaf. Those usually work pretty good. I've had no issues with the UAC. And the stock TM one works just fine as well.
I've heard good things about the PDI buckings too.
I've heard, yeah, I just don't have one. Oh, also 9-ball, hit or miss. The one I have currently is got a whole bunch of burrs in it. I could just scrape it out, but I don't care enough. That's what originally came with this one. But I just put in a Maple Leaf Decepticon for this one. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Now, I still have the stock unit in here. Do you see any significant gains between the stock unit and the aftermarket units, or is it just a matter of if the stock unit breaks or something?
I don't know the statistics behind that. I don't sit there and benchmark test all my units.
Yeah.
I've noticed that these two, the Airsoft Masterpiece and the Maple Leaf, will give you more consistent hop than the stock one. The Garter is basically just a lighter version of the stock.
It's probably just a matter of tolerances then.
But again, it also comes down to your barrel and your bucket.
Yeah, that's true.
And then which arm you use, because you have the steel one in there. Some people probably keep the original aluminum one in there, and there's a whole. So as far as magazines, I know we covered that way earlier in our library. But for magazines, you use the stock TM, right?
I use the stock TM, or I might actually start using the Wii's since I don't care about slide lock.
Right. I use the primary adapter because when we go traveling, I just want to throw one magazine in there and then a bunch of M4 mags, and those are stackable. So I have, it's really about space, what is it called? Space
consolidation.
Thank you. Space consolidation. That's why I want to use just one mag. Plus all my stuff is HPA too, so.
Yeah, and I use propane. You know, it's just, I like having I can keep the magazines separate in my belt and then have the gun and just have the self-contained thing. I like that with the faster reloads. But again, that's sidearm versus primary.
Exactly.
So one of the big struggles I think a lot of people have is about building Hi Capas to be like as durable as possible. Because I know some people I talk to are like, well, Hi Capas are kind of race guns, right? They're not super durable.
I'd beg to differ.
Yeah, I would disagree. With the 7075 aluminum slide I have on this guy, and the stainless steel barrel, stainless steel guide rod, the 7075 aluminum blowback unit, and the really solid, high-quality polymer nozzle I have on this, I think this is more durable than most airsoft handguns. I mean, I'm running it on propane, and I'm not easy on my stuff, and this thing this thing holds up pretty remarkably. I mean, even before I did the latest round of upgrades, I was pretty hard on this gun. I've used it at several, larger events, and I'm not easy on anything. And I think that, Hi Capas, once you put the right parts into them, I know TMs have the reputation of, well, you can't really run green gas in them stock. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a limitation. But once you put some of these high-end parts into them, I honestly would be curious how a long-term use of CO2 would look in here. Just there's not very many good CO2 Hi Capa magazines. Yeah. But then you get plastic slides.
This is kind of like apples and oranges because you have Eric built his so it'll last. He can beat the crap out of it. He didn't want to be flashy or anything like that. There's two different types of Hi Capa builders. There's the Gucci builders, and then there's the ones that want to try to make it nice and durable and shoot accurately and as far as they wanted to. I know both of us he uses 3.2s, I use 3, but the two it's pretty much about the same honestly. So I try to incorporate 2, mostly because when I go I usually play kind of more conservative, or not conservative, but more like I don't want to completely beat the crap out of mine because frames and barrels are expensive. And I don't want to drop in the dirt. I don't want to drop on a concrete. That's why I have the Omnivore holster, because it is that second level retention. So if I do fall or I jump or anything like that happens, it doesn't jump out of the holster. And then, like you said, the plastic slides, those are more like those HPA pistols that are primaries. And that's all they're using, and these are cheaper, and you can make it looking by a whole bunch of different colors. And
you can also replace them very easily.
You can, but it's a lot of money. At the end of the day, it's still $60 per slide.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily.
But if you're using it as your primary, I mean, I don't know. If you think about it, if you got like 10 games out of a 3D printed slide, that's like $6 a game.
You get more rounds than 10 games.
I know. I'm just.
It all comes down to how you build it. Again, like I said, Gucci builders versus reliability. I wouldn't call the plastic slide a reliable build. It's more of a Gucci build because you can get the highest cyclic rate with the plastic slide.
Yeah.
A lightweight blowback unit, lightweight outer barrel, all that stuff. You can do all of that just so it goes as fast as humanly possible, and they can do like yours. It's reliable.
It's not as fast, but it'll chew through.
So you got to really kind of think about how you want to build it. You want to start off with obviously the slide. Once you jump into the TM Hi Capa, you already know you need a slide. That's what everyone tells you right off the bat. Just buy the slide. You're going to need it at some point anyways. So when you jump into a TM build, you know that you need a slide. So already start looking for that, save your money, and then go buy. The best place that I know to buy it is Airsoft Gateway. They have tons and tons and tons of slides. Sanctus has a bunch of his slides on there as well. Shout out to him. So, you got to kind of think about what you want to do. I would start with barrel and bucking.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. I think hop-up upgrades, especially if you're trying to use heavy BBs, are the best place to start. And then at least be prepared to buy a slide if you're...
No. You have to buy a slide. It's going to break at some point in your life cycle.
Yeah.
Unless you do what I said, put a different lighter recoil spring in there and use it, kind of a conservative PSI.
Dust or gas.
Put it at like 80, 90 PSI. It'll last you forever. But if you're going to try to get the most FPS out of it, you're going in your slide.
Yeah. Fair enough. But other than that...
hammer protection pads. If you go and buy yourself a Gucci frame, again comes down to if you just wanted to be reliable or you want a Gucci build. I would say hammer protection pad is one of the most necessary things you can have in your Hi Capa, because then you don't need to replace your frame later on down the road, whether you keep it stock or you buy one of these frames that I have, the 9 balls or even the Airsoft Masterpiece ones.
Yeah, I actually have a hammer protection pad as well, because that will extend the longevity of your stock frame too, because the hammer isn't going to be impacting the back of it every time.
Exactly.
It doesn't hurt anything. All it does is protect the back of the frame.
And your hammer.
Rather fond. Yeah, and your hammer. So
because
I'm rather fond of that.
Yeah, so you will notice that once you start using your Hi Capa, you'll see a kind of a ring kind of form behind it. That is from hitting it on just without a hammer protection pad.
Yep. So, yeah, those are kind of our preferred durability upgrades. Then, if you want.
And as flashlight goes, we've talked about flashlights. We both use the TLRs. He has the regular one. I have the HL.
My battery's dead. Yeah, it's totally dead.
You can use the. You can go out and buy, if you want to spend the money, a Surefire X300.
Those are great lights. Not going to knock them.
Has some as well.
Yeah, and then there's like options from NC Star and whatnot.
NC Star.
For quality and durability overall.
If you're playing indoors, I would just start saving your money and get yourself a nice TLR. If you really want to shell out for X300, go for it.
For reference, I've had this TLR1 since 2014. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I've had this TLR1 for longer than Gun Gamers has existed. I would say I've gotten my money's worth. And I've used
to work.
Yeah, and I've used it on my real firearms. I've used it on every airsoft handgun I've had. It's beat to hell, doesn't stop working. It just needs new batteries every now and then.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's definitely my go-to light.
And if you want to, I'm just going to throw this in here. If you want to, Gucci out your TLR, Airsoft Gateway has a bunch of parts that you can make to, if you're making a green pistol, they have the green front end and the G-spot thumb, whatever you call it. I don't even know. There's a
switch?
Yeah, the switch. Yeah, thanks. It has a green switch too. So you can kind of Gucci that out as well. Plus light filters, they have them as well. And these are actually ricochet. So indoor, if you play a lot of indoor, it won't break your TLR.
Yep. Or you could be super Gucci and get a D-ball PL. Get your super night vision laser. I don't own one of those. I kind of want one, but I don't.
All right.
Fuck you, Joe. Joe's a D-ball PL and I hate him.
All right, guys. Well, we hope this video was informative and helps you, and kind of let us know what's most important to you, to your Hi Capa builds in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. My name was Amy.
And I'm E-House.
And we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Thank you for watching this video from Gun Gamers. We hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. Check the description below if you'd like to buy a t-shirt or a patch, and use the coupon code JUDY10 for 10% off of your next order at Amped Airsoft. Thank you again for watching, and praise Judy.